And at the moment, on the second day of his two-day visit to India, US President Donald Trump is being accorded a ceremonial reception at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in a short while from now. These are the live visuals that we are getting from Rashtrapati Bhavan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, as the Rashtrapati Bhavan is all set to welcome and accord a ceremonial reception to US President Donald Trump. So this is the Delhi leg of US President Donald Trump's India visit. Yesterday he was in Ahmedabad. So these live visuals there, US President Donald Trump accompanied by First Lady and his daughter Ivanka. So that visuals from Rashtrapati Bhavan. This is the day 2 of Donald Trump's India visit. After being accorded a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, US President Donald Trump will visit Mahatma Gandhi's Samadhi Rajghat, where he will lay a wreath to pay tribute to the father of the nation. The day is also significant because US President is going to hold restricted and delegation level talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Hyderabad House. The talks are scheduled to begin at about 11 a.m. Those live visuals there from the Rashtrapati Bhavan. We saw yesterday the bonhomie really between the two leaders, US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, at the Ahmedabad and the Agra leg of the visit. It is the Delhi leg of the US President's two-day India visit today. It is going to be significant. Those live visuals there from Rashtrapati Bhavan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi there. So this is the main leg of Trump's India visit. He is expected to hold extensive talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. Of course, there was an announcement yesterday about the defense deal. MH-60 Romeo and AH-64E Apache helicopters, the $3 billion defense deal. And those visuals there from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, Prime Minister Modi there welcoming Rashtrapati, Nath, Kovind there, and First Lady. So stage is all set to welcome and accord a ceremonial welcome to US President Donald Trump, who's on a two-day India visit. So we could see very clearly the bonhomie between the two leaders at the Ahmedabad leg of the visit, where the two leaders addressed a gathering of more than 1 lakh people at the Sardar Patel Stadium in Mathura. The chemistry between the two leaders fully evident there. The two leaders heaped praises on each other at the Mathura Stadium, and President Donald Trump highlighting the shared values between India and the US and also the future of the bilateral relationship. During his speech, he also quoted Swami Vivekananda. He also paid tributes to Indian icons, including Mahatma Gandhi and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. And Prime Minister Modi also saying that Trump's visit to India shows strong ties between the two nations.
have the second day of President Trump's visit to India, and as per the schedule, you can see on your television sets Prime Minister Modi accompanied by the Defence Minister right now at the Rashtrapati Bhavan for the ceremonial reception of President Trump. You can see Ivanka Trump there on your screens. Jared Kushner, part of the official delegation with President Trump.
सलामी दी जा रही है। साथ ही राष्ट्रपति के अंगरक्षक दल अश्वारोही दल
President Nath Kovind's cavalcade arriving for the ceremonial reception in the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan lawns. This is a tradition which is followed for all the heads of states who visit India. Ceremonial reception takes place in the forecourt of the presidential lawns. Guard of honor by all three forces. And these are live visuals you're getting from inside the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. This is the second day of President Trump's visit. Yesterday we saw that huge rally where both President Trump and Prime Minister Modi addressed the crowds, followed by President Trump making a trip to Taj Mahal in Agra along with family. President Trump along with President Nath Kovind, Prime Minister Modi. The second day, that is today's day of President Trump's visit, will have a number of events. After this, he will visit Mahatma Gandhi's Samadhi at Rajghat, followed by delegation level talks at Hyderabad House around 12:45. And later on in the evening, President Trump will also address a press conference. There on your television screens, you see
अंतरसेना सम्मान घाट राष्ट्रीय सलूट समाप्त शस्त्र अंतर सेना सम्मान कार्ड बाजू चेस्ट श्रीमान अंतर सेना सम्मान कार्ड आपके निरीक्षण के लिए हाजिर है
led by Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Thakur of the 5th Battalion of the 1st Gorkha Rifles, taking the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, for his inspection. We have 6 officers and 150 other ranks in this Guard of Honor that draws its men from the 3 services. The Army, led by Captain Abhay Sheraz Sandhu, the Navy, led by Lieutenant Commander A.K. Mohanty, and the Air Force, led by Squadron Leader D.K.S. Chauhan. Mr. Trump is the 7th US President to visit India and has had a really busy schedule since yesterday when he landed in Ahmedabad, moved to Agra in the evening, and now in Delhi, which is a day-long program that is really packed to the hilt. After the inspection of the Guard of Honor, Mr. Trump and Mr. Kovind shaking hands, as he will now introduce Mr. Trump to the Indian delegates who are assembled here. And we begin with the Military Secretary, actually with the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Rajnath Singh, the Defense Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, the Foreign Minister, Mr. Harshvardhan, the Minister for Health and Family Welfare, General V.K. Singh, former Army Chief and now Member of Parliament in the Lok Sabha, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Mr. Anil Baijal, Mr. Rajiv Gauba, the Cabinet Secretary,
Admiral Karambir Singh, Chief of Naval Staff, Air Chief Marshal Rakesh Kumar Singh Bhadoria, President Trump shaking hands with General M.M. Naravane, Army Chief, Secretary to the President Sanjay Kothari, also Harshvardhan Shringla, Foreign Secretary, Dr. Bala Prasad, Special Secretary to President, Randhir Kumar Jaiswal, Joint Secretary, Rudra Gaurav Shresht, OSD, Prime Minister Office, shaking hands with Joint Secretary Ajay Bhadu, Press Secretary Ajay Kumar Singh.
And the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador of the Dominican Republic, Hans Dannenberg Castellanos. Now President Trump introducing the US delegation to our president. You've got the US ambassador in India, the US Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Energy, the National Security Advisor, Senior Advisor Ivana Trump, and her husband, who's also a senior advisor, Jared Kushner, the White House Principal Deputy Chief of Staff, Emma Doyle, Stephen Miller, the advisor to the President, the White House Director of Social Media and Assistant to the President, Dan Scavino, Lindsay Renault, the Chief of Staff to the First Lady, Rob Blair, and Stephanie Grisham, the White House Press Secretary. President Kovind and Mrs. Kovind with Mr. Trump and Melania Trump as they move back to their positions. And as I mentioned to you earlier, he has a packed day after the reception, this official reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Mr. Trump will move to Rajghat, where he will pay his respects to Mahatma Gandhi.
और कल भी जैसे कि साबरमती आश्रम में हमने देखा माननीय राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने गांधी जी की महानता को सराहा. And now President Donald Trump along with the President of India Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi for a group photograph which is going to be a memory indeed.
Smiling faces on the second day of his visit to India. President Kovind and President Trump exchanging a few words as this moment is captured for posterity. He has a lot of official meetings today, delegation level talks, an exchange of agreements perhaps. And then there is a lunch hosted by the Prime Minister, after which he will have meetings with the Vice President and the External Affairs Minister, and he will also visit the US Embassy in India. In the evening there is a dinner hosted by the Indian President at Rashtrapati Bhavan, which will be an official banquet in honor of the visiting President of the United States of America. And of course, he leaves later in the night back to the United States. A really quick trip for the Trumps. We hope that they have enjoyed their sojourn, their maiden trip to India. The Cadillac making its way out now from the forecourt after the official reception hosted by the President of India to the visiting President of the United States of America.